We brought the hood to the west side. West side radio.
Welcome to it, y'all. West Side Radio, Julio G. We back at it once again. And today I've been bringing different people on, and today is going to be really good because I love bringing people on that are legends in the game and been here before me. I grew up on them. Tonight, Chris the Glove Taylor with us tonight. How you doing, Chris?
I'm feeling elevated. Thank you so much to LA Kush and to my brother for bringing this out. Julio, this cannabis is excellent.
Oh, man, I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. LA Kush, man, you can't go wrong with that right there, man. Thank you, Chris, though, for coming. I really appreciate you, man. Like I said, I grew up on you. I always ask people about the name. The Glove came from where? And who gave you the name The Glove?
So when I first started DJing, I was working for a company called Audio Entertainment. Shout out to Jerry McGee. And we used to deliver equipment to different clubs and, pop-ups and shit. So it was a club called Radio. And they were opening. So he said, listen, deliver this gear and tell them you DJ. I told them you were a DJ. So, they do that kind of thing you do. You remember when we were starting, they didn't really know
what it was, what to call it, yeah.
Y'all tearing up records. That's what they said.
Scratching records out.
Right. So I went down there. I met the owners after I delivered these big ass, you remember the Cerro Vegas used to roll the L36s and the B36s. So they got these big metal corners when you stack them together. So I had these gigantic like gardening gloves with fur in the middle, like Mickey Mouse almost, to move them because I didn't, and I'm super skinny, like 135 pounds, right?
And those speakers were heavy. They were heavy.
Yeah, I'm strong but skinny. So we would, after that, they come to KK and Alex, two white guys from Europe, b-boyed out. It's 1983. They are b-boys. I'm like, whoa. Wow. They look like they walked out of Wild Style.
In LA, huh?
Right.
Wow.
Downtown LA. We was on like
by MacArthur Park?
Parkview. Yep, 7th and Parkview, right there. So they're like, hey man, we hear you a DJ. We want you to play at our club Friday night. I was like, cool. They were like, okay, we got a marquee. What's your DJ name? And I was stuck because I didn't have one. Like I said, I'm hot DJ. I thought I was all dope. I never had a DJ name. Not then. I had been playing probably a year. So I said, DJ Chris. And they were like, they laughed. And they said, I tell you what, we'll have a name for you when you come back. We got a marquee. You play at 11, so it'll have your name, 11 p.m. So I show up Friday night at the club, 11 p.m. It says 11 p.m. The Glove. I was like, that's me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting how you got that name. I did not know that.
And then they told me it was the gloves I had on.
Wow. That's crazy. If you don't mind, Chris, explaining like the radio, because a lot of people don't know what a incredible place that was and what it birthed. I mean, for LA West Coast hip hop, it turned into RadioTron later, where people know it more for RadioTron, but really is originally called the Radio. That's what I remember hearing about it when I was a kid. It's like people would go to the radio, but give them an explanation of what it was, the actual the radio itself.
So Club Radio, the radio, like we used to call it, it was a nightclub on Friday nights that started at 11. And it started at 11, went from 11 to 5. There was no age limit. I think it was 13 and over. And they didn't sell alcohol, but you could bring your own. And if you'd smell weed and whatever the fuck else they do in clubs. So I show up for the radio. I walk in, it's graffiti on the walls. It's cats spray painting.
Right there, huh?
Right there. And in the parking lot. When I showed up, it was a crew called Shake City Rockers. Shout out to Shank and Suave Smooth and all them cats, man. Trev, those are my guys. They were there. When I started in the circuit, like when I went to get paid at a club, they were there. So they OGs with me because I saw them. They had already been there. I know I put the equipment there, so I was there before them earlier.
Right.
But it was opening night. We all started. So they were playing. So I was like, oh, it's and they, they were just playing the heat and, it was hip hop. But it was like, we didn't play really. It wasn't that many rap records.
No, it wasn't, no.
You remember this?
Yeah.
So we were playing all the hot shit, the cameos and whatnot.
Big side and
right, and we'd find the beats and break them down. So the thing Ice and I would do is he would be into something, and then so the way I met Ice, this is the night at radio.
And this is Ice-T we're talking about.
Ice-T.
Yes,
Ice motherfucking T, yo.
Yeah.
So the way that so I show up, I'm DJing and I'm playing music, and then this cat hops up on stage and he starts talking, and he got like on a muscle shirt, and it's ice, hat backwards. So he's talking, white Mazda, move your shit, blah, blah, blah. And if you got this, he's giving like announcements, right? And then I'm listening. So I kind of turn the music down a little, and I keep it on music while he's talking. So I'm cutting a little bit. And then he starts to say, it felt like he was on rhythm, and I felt like he was telling a story. So I started listening. I'm like, he's rapping. So I keeping it instrumental. Now he's rapping. So then when I felt it, I dropped the music, scratch it back in, bring it in. So we a bit right now. We getting down. He's doing 2 songs. It's like we've been together.
Yeah.
But I'm a freestyle DJ. I work with rappers. As soon as you start rapping, I know what to do.
Yeah.
So we that's how we met.
Wow.
On stage.
At the radio, huh?
At the radio.
Wow, that's crazy.
So now this is the other part. So we're on stage DJing, and he's rapping, MCing, whatnot. And you look in the crowd, you got Quincy Jones, Clarence Avant, Michael Jackson learning how to moonwalk in the corner, Madonna begging to get on stage. This is our crowd.
That scene. It's the LA scene, underground scene. Yeah.
All the real underground where the celebrity movers are.
Yeah, yeah.
So I met Sting. I met Miles Copeland, who was the manager of all of them. I met Clarence Avant. I met girls like Iris Dillon and Shay. These girls worked in the record labels. They ran them shits. They ran the promotion. Those 2 girls got me. I became a Billboard reporter. You know what that was?
Yeah, of course.
So I was the first Billboard reporter that was from our shit.
That was a big deal.
The street. Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Bro.
I want to go back to Ice-T though. So when you get going with Ice-T at radio, I've always told people that I always thought Ice-T was just a star.
Off top.
Like before, the way he carried himself, knowing him early in the game, like the way he carried himself, he always had that star quality. But I wanted to ask you, because you know him from that time, which is that 83 time. Did you feel that when you met him? Because he just always been a fly. The way he just, everything about Ice-T has always just been fly. You know what I mean? But you tell me, when you met him, did you feel that?
Let me tell you a story. It's an Ice-T story. So we used to play right there, right? So all of a sudden, so now, that first night, it was crowded, it was whatever. So after a while, it's a line all the time around the block. Like, we're celebrities low-key and not knowing it. Like
Good stars, yeah.
Yeah, like it's everywhere we go, anywhere near that, or anybody that ever met is asking us questions. And then we start shooting documentaries. We shot Breaking and Entering in 83.
That was my next question was going to ask you about Breaking and Entering, because I love that. I guess you could call it a documentary, but it was more just like pieces of.
It's a documentary because it explains what we were
West
doing
Coast,
exactly
musically, yeah,
and it's actually 100% accurate. Anything else was after that.
Right.
So that was, you saw true hip hop in its true form.
And did that birth the movie Breaking? Did it come off like a spin-off sort of Breaking and Entering?
So I'll tell you this. We did Breaking and Entering a year before the movie Breaking. So I would assume there was influence. There was 2 white dudes, bro. The producers used to come to radio. Yeah. Like, okay, so I'm gonna tell you how they found out. Back to radio. So we low-key celebrities, hood stars, and then all of a sudden we get on the cover of the calendar. Radio. The biggest club in LA you never heard of. The line was as wide as this room. Like 7 people deep wrapped around the block. There's thousands of people coming to radio.
Trying to get in, yeah.
And these producers seen that, came in, start seeing what we was doing. That's when they was begging to get on stage, and you got Madonna, and because it's a happening. This didn't happen now. The public knows now.
Yeah, I want to ask you, Chris, about going back to Breaking and Entering. I want to ask you, like, you got to see some incredible dancers at that point. You talking about Boogaloo Shrimp, you're talking about Poppin' Taco, Poppin' Pete. I mean, and there's a whole lot more I'm probably missing, of course, but I mean, you've seen some incredible dancers. These guys were in their like prime at that point. They were those were real street hood stars right there. The dancers, actually, you know what I mean?
They followed us around every time I'm DJing. Here come these cats.
Yeah, so it all mixed together. I was gonna say
it was like they grew up as dancers and got in the Michael Jackson video. I grew up as a DJ and was the star of the Shaka Khan video. It was the same thing.
Right.
But they were dancers. But yes, I had some of the most. They were my dancers. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
You're a DJ, so you're just naming off my dancers. They would come to wherever I DJ and dance.
Chris, I want to ask you about the actual fashion at that time, because there wasn't like you can go to a store and just go buy like breaking gear or stuff like that, but it seemed like everybody at that time used to figure out how to make something, and it was very like unique to LA. If you notice, if you pay attention to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was just curious, like, do you know where that actually came from? Like, who started wearing like the spikes, and did that come from radio, or was that before that?
So the spikes, like in my instance, when I started wearing them for the glove, because the reason I wore that is because I wanted people to, since my name was the glove, I wanted you to see me and know what my name was when I was standing there. I didn't have a face like Ice-T that you knew. I always wore glasses and shit. So I made a glove. My name is Glove. So I made this gauntlet. It went from my shoulder all the way down with spikes. But the first thing I got from spikes, so hip hop and punk rock are really similar in growth spurt and timing and attitude. So the punk rock, they wore spikes, and it wasn't rock because that was like, you know, Bon Jovi and shit. These other dudes, they was wearing spikes around it. Like, what was the guys? They said Vicious. And they out there. Yeah. So they got the same mentality. And then them actors like Robert Downey, when he was on drugs, he was like us. It was the same thing. That whole Less Than Zero, that was also breaking. That was also radio. It was the same crowd. Wow. That's what was going on. Like, cats were really like Robert Downey dying in the back of the car on the way back from Palm Springs in the 80s.
Wow.
So with that thing going, it's the fashion was like kind of, like, for instance, the whole Norma Kamali fashion video, it's almost like she had us in the video wearing the clothes, but I wore my own clothes, and I know Shrimp did too. And I think they copied our style from the club and turned it into a line, just like cross color. I used to see a kid that did that, and then I see cross colors, and it's like, wait. So these guys, they get ideas.
They inspired a lot.
Oh yeah, bro, so much more than just music or film. It's fashion, it's dance, it's all kind of art. It's just it's culturally significant.
I want to ask you, Glove, about David Storrs, because I've seen his name in the 80s on different records, you know what I mean? Important records too, you know. Can you explain who David Storrs was and how you got connected with him to make records? Because you guys started making records.
So before I did Reckless, I used to make bootleg vinyl. Everybody was making mixtapes. I was making mixed vinyl. That's when after that, you heard of Scratch Party and all of them that came after. But so we did this thing called Scratch Dance. Me and a guy, Victor Flores and Carlos Mangalo. There was some hot DJs from Pico Rivera.
And that was so hot, Scratch Dance. So hot.
It was 3 minds, 3 DJs that did that. It was not just me. Okay. I did the performance.
Okay.
I did all the turntablism. Every mix, every cut, every scratch was me. And the arrangement was me and Victor, and Carlos is just fire. He just whatever. He's just gas. So we did that together. It was 3 of us. Now, David Storrs, I met through Victor. Victor was, like I said, a DJ at Florentine Gardens and whatnot. He knew David Storrs as an engineer. All he was an engineer, right? So I called Victor. I was like, man, I got this budget. I got to do music for this movie. And I got my drum machine, and I know how to, you know, play piano and Rhodes and shit, but I need a studio. I don't know what to do.
How to put it down, yeah.
I don't know nothing.
Yeah.
What do I do? She said, go here to Salty Dog and call, you know. So I went to Salty Dog, talked to Dave. I think he owned it or something, but it was a studio out in the valley on Delano, real far. This white guy comes to the door, and I'm like, okay, cool, because all the engineers are white guys everywhere.
Yeah.
Fuck it. So I met him through Victor, and then, so we go in there, I make this beat, and he's instantly like, yo, we should add this. We should do that. And I'm like, hell yeah, because he's got this like rolling bass line, and we knocking off like Freakazoid and switching it around and programming it in there, right? And so then we got this beat. I got the drums, I do all the beats, and he got that bass. And then pull out got these Oberheim keys and stuff. So this dude is like the alien wizard for real. He could play everything. David Storrs is the one who taught me how to engineer, and he did it in one sentence. And he told me, he said, turn it until you hear it, and then turn it till you like it.
That was it, huh?
That's it for any of that shit. You want to engineer, turn it till you hear what it makes, and then turn it till you like the sound. Wow. That's it. So, you know, that's David Storrs was.
Yeah, I see his name on different records, so that's why I wanted to ask you about what his contribution was, David Storrs. When you did Reckless, that was for the Breakin soundtrack. And that record just took off. I mean, did Ice-T and or it was just something you just did and just...
I personally, I can't really speak for T or any of that, but I could tell you in my situation, I didn't ever hear it on the radio. I never saw anybody playing it in the cars. But when I got my first royalty check, it was like $70,000.
Wow.
Bro, the first check.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, this record, somebody listening to it somewhere.
Yeah, because Breakin' was so big, the movie itself, and it made a crazy amount of money. It was shot for like a couple $1 million.
Man, that movie made $40 million.
$40 back then.
They
bro.
got the record for it was a hit movie.
Yeah.
Successful. Beat Street was not.
Yeah.
And everybody talks about Beat Street, and it was not even a hit. It may have been cultural, it may be.
Yeah.
But it's just the same New York story. You don't have that with LA. You got Breakin' and Entering.
I want to ask you about something else, Chris. You brought up Norma Kamali, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember, like, I seen you in the Shaka Khan video. And then I remember seeing another, I don't know if it was me, but like I seen those scenes in a Magic Mike theme.
I'm gonna help you.
Okay,
you're right.
Okay,
the Magic Mike theme was.
I thought I seen some of those clips in the Magic Mike theme song. But you explain it to me.
So let me tell
give me
you
a breakdown
of
what that was about. Yeah.
So this is what happened. We made a Norma Kamali fashion video. All that shit you see in Shaka Khan's video are clips from that.
From that. Okay, exactly.
Boogaloo Shrimp wasn't there. None of them people was there. And you see, I'm up on the...
Yeah.
So they said Shaka Khan she loved Norma Kamali's clothes, and she saw that video. She said, ooh, I want my video to look like this. So she bought that video, they edited it together, and then they said, we need something to give you a carryover. You know, her dancing with Boogaloo Shrimp ain't gonna make it like she's there. But if she's with me, the DJ, so I wore the same clothes, which was mine, and I went, and me and Shaka were alone for 12 hours in that studio doing that video.
And that's why she's cutting on the video.
And she's standing on a box about this tall.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
table.
Yeah, because you're tall. Yeah, I know.
She's a little.
I met her before. Yeah, no, absolutely. I want to also ask you, Glove, at that time in the 80s, it was the beginning of, like, I guess the West Coast sound was becoming like the drum machine sound in a sense. You know what I mean? Everybody was... It was because of popping, and it all married together. You know what I mean? Break that down for me, that time and era, and why it was so beat driven and drum driven. You know what I mean?
Because DJs were making it. That DJ in big ass clubs with sound systems. So what I love it when Arabian Prince, shout out to OG Arabian Prince, he always says, he says, look, which I said the same. We're not trying. We go to the studio. We're not trying to make something to go good at the club. We're trying to take that club and put it on a record. That's why we would bring drum machines and make our own beats, and it was about that's it. Yeah. Faster was better. Yeah, Chicks was taking their clothes off to that shit. Absolutely. And that's all we was for. We was for getting the girls going, and they gonna take off their clothes.
Yeah.
And you know it, been getting a check.
Yeah.
That's it. So, I mean, that was Uncle Jam's Army. I used to DJ at the Playpen for Roger. That's how I kind of met Egypt. There was a guy going around saying there's another dude that like does kind of DJ like what you do. Because everybody was just playing records. Then there was, you was around the same time. You was a young dude.
I would say Tony G and them.
Well, Tony G, you're Julio G. I always do that.
Yeah, Tony was.
Me and Tony got to be 60.
He was at he was at radio. He
Tony
RadioTron.
G was at RadioTron, but he was like he used to come and see me at radio.
Yeah, radio.
That's Tony G. We did shows and shit together. We toured. We went to Arizona together and battled with Bobcat. So that era of the group of DJs, that's who was making the music.
Chris, I want to ask you, why do you think the West Coast gravitated so much to like Parliament and like Zap and all that at that era too? Because it seemed like that kind of shaped our sound out too a little bit.
It's something about that funk. Whenever, and it's funny that you said that, because if I DJ in Santa Ana, guess what I'm playing? All that they want, all the Latinos want to hear is that what you said. That's it. And and that's odd, because I go to their house and they playing cumbia and they playing this and that and rancheros and they know all the words and who got killed and all of that, right?
Yeah.
But you put on Roger and it's
it's on.
It's like you can, and so I think that when I see that, I think that's what it is. Whatever the nature of that makes Latinos love funk, That's what make us love funk.
Yeah.
What makes you like it?
Well,
Where did you gravitate
me,
to?
it was because I connected it to dancing. I remember like we had to play like One Nation Under a Groove, and you had to have the long version, and it was like there was a lot of things to having a tape in your radio, and just if you're riding on a bike, you got your Parliament, you got your Zap, so it just
You
made
got
you
Aqua
feel
Boogie,
like Aqua Boogie,
the long version,
when it break down. Oh man, bro.
So you know, like when I played Dre Day, the first version I did I played the bass. So the first one I did the first Aqua Boogie. You know, we did the remix.
And
I played the remix bass line.
Yeah.
Yeah. It came out. I said we should do that bass line instead of this one. So it's on there. He was like, yeah, play it. Can you play that shit? I was like, man. And you know, we played everything to tape. I never really sequenced musical parts. I would play them to the tape.
To the tape, huh?
And then when I got in Pro Tools, I'll play them to the Pro Tools. You don't, if something's off beat, move it or delete it and record it again. Punch that shit straight. Like, bruh, excellence is what you strive for. So if you're doing it right, then it's going to be on beat. It's not going to be fucked up.
I also wanted to ask you, when was the first time you seen your name on a record? Because back then, it was like a goal just to have your name on a record. It was so like, it was monumental. It was like, if I could just see my name on a record. When was the first time, do you remember when you seen like Chris the Glove on an actual record?
I think the first record that I saw my name on, the first one was, I did a record with Barry White when I was 21, I think. Yeah, it was actually Chucky Booker was the artist. It was a group. Chucky Booker, you know who that is?
Yeah, of course.
He was in a group called Terra.
Okay.
And the song was Fresh Flesh. And I mixed it with Barry and did some, because I was like an SSL expert at already.
Wow.
So I worked with Chucky on that. So that was 1983, Terra Fresh Flesh. Then I did a thing with Benny Medina and Kerry Gordy called the Motor City Crew. That was like 84. Those are all around. And then Reckless was the biggest.
Yeah, that
was right around after. So
yeah,
it was like being Reckless. So I could say Reckless, but I just leave that as the first plaque. Yeah,
okay,
I had other music with my
I see
credit.
you got a Death Row chain on today.
Yes.
I got to ask you some too about that, because you work with Eazy-E at Ruthless at one point. And then you worked with Death Row, and then you worked with Aftermath too. So you've kind of seen
I'm the only person
faces.
that's been signed to all
three
labels as an artist and a producer.
How did you link up with Eazy-E, and how did you get your group signed to Ruthless Records at the time? Which was what was it, Poor Broke and Lonely?
Yep, Poor Broke and Lonely.
Yeah.
I met Dr. Dre, and that's how I got involved with all of shit.
Okay. Oh, so you knew Dre first, though, before you.
Yeah, I met Dre.
Okay.
My boy Dave Jaquette, shout out to Dave. He brought Dre to my house. I met him at the house. I didn't have to. God does that. He want me to have something, he gonna bring it right to me.
Yeah.
I didn't even have I had a car, but I was taking out the trash. Here come my boy around the corner. You know how when you see a nice car and your friend is in it, you don't see nobody but the person you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So he hit the corner. I see Dave is in a slant nose. What the hell? I didn't even look at the driver. He hop out. He's like, yeah. I looked over. I was like, oh, that's Dre. Like I saw Dave, then I saw Dre.
Yeah.
Dre hop out. Hey, what's up, Dre? I was like, hey, what's up? And then he told me he wanted a person that could do kind of like what he did in his place, almost like a pre-setup guy. Like he really was saying he wanted to double himself. He was like, man, I want to be in two places. I said, I'm your guy, bro.
Okay.
I could do all that shit. What you want to do? And then I said, it's funny because he signed me, and I said, well, I got a group. You got to sign them because them niggas broke. So I can't be the one with money, and they don't. So he signed all of us. That's how I met Eazy. So Eazy and Dre used to call me every morning, me and my group, one or two of the members of the group. We talked to Eazy. I talked to Eazy every morning at like 6 and 7.
He was always up early, man.
You know
Such a hard worker, that guy, man.
That dude was great.
Yeah, he was great. He was absolutely.
Eazy.
Yeah, me too. Did you DJ the NWA pool parties?
Bro, they was using my name to draw people, bro. Look, you were a DJ. Did you ever want to be anything else?
No.
Damn right. We DJs. We wanted to be DJs.
Yeah.
Damn right. I did both those parties, and we gave them. That was
ahead of his time,
bro,
too. That was
so
ahead of his time.
I knew all the people that they wanted in that place.
Yeah.
And so we did the part 1 and 2. Wild and Wet 1 and 2.
Damn.
They made a movie or video.
I seen some video of it. I've seen some video of it, but man, that was a great time. They were just the talk of the town. You know what I mean? If you can make it to an Eazy-E pool party, oh my God, bro. If you can make it to one of those parties, you was in the mix for sure, man. Chris, because you knew all these guys, did you ever get yourself like, was it ever awkward because you knew Eazy and then you go work with Dre and then.
Yo, bro, this contract ain't right. The money ain't right. The reason Dre left, so everybody, he had all these things going on, whatever. When he signed my group, he was trying to become Eazy. He wanted to start his own thing, production deal. So they were supposed to split the money a certain way. Turns out, we had a meeting with Dre, and me and my boy Dave broke it down. We was like, bro, your house is from Terry Heller Realty. Your car is from Heller Motors. And then he said, how much did they tell you they got? You didn't see our contract? They told you we got how much? It's a $500,000 album contract. The dude owe you double what he gave you. And that night, after we told him that, we went to see Michelet perform on, what's that guy's name? Arsenio Hall. So we all sitting together. Dre leaned over and said, I gotta look out for Dre. I'm done. At that Arsenio Hall is when he told him
Said he was
to
out.
his face, this is fucked up, I'm out.
I also wanted to ask you, Chris, you work with Dr. Dre on like the Chronic album. That must have been a great experience to see all these guys because you have some really raw talent, especially you because you worked on Stranded on Death Row, and you got to get all of them on your song. And you know these are like supreme MCs at this point, which I want to give them their credit because I think that they started to step up the more lyrical side of the West Coast. Corrupt, Daz, Rage, RBX, and Snoop, you know what I mean? How was that experience like being around these guys and just kind of shaping, because you guys kind of shaped their talent out a little bit because they were pretty raw. I mean,
they didn't even know how to write.
Yeah. But look what you got out of it. I mean,
it was badasses.
Yeah.
It's like having a machine gun that don't know which end to shoot the bullets out of, but when it starts shooting, watch the fuck out.
Yeah. So how was that working with those guys?
It was fun.
Did you know it was special though at the time when you guys were working on it? Because nobody knew what the Chronic was going to do or not do.
Snoop used to always say, man, every day we would sit down and Snoop would say, man, how many copies I'm going to sell, Dr. Dre? And he would say, more than Michael Jackson. And he'd be like, Michael Jackson?
No way.
More than Michael Jackson.
That's crazy.
And then he'd tell him that every fucking day, bro, every day. And you know what? On the first day of his record sales, he sold more than Michael Jackson than anybody else.
Wow.
He got the record for the rookie first album sales in one day, over 360,000 copies.
Was that Doggystyle or the Chronic?
That's Snoop's album.
Doggystyle, okay.
We're not talking about the Chronic. I jumped over there to tell you how we were.
Yeah.
So when we made the Chronic, we were making them like, we had to separate, like, we were making songs. So we started with Deep Cover. So Deep Cover with 187, that was the first thing that people heard, the first thing
for the soundtrack for
we did that for the movie Deep Cover. Then we were working on that and the Chronic and Dre and Snoop and Daz doing stuff for Doggystyle. It's all happening.
They're just working.
Yeah, we just worked and they released records. You see what I mean? Like when we was ready, we pieced them together, and then me and Dre would sit down and we always did the order of the songs. I even did that for other albums. They would hire me to do the sequencing because we did it so good on that, and then everything because it's like a party. You're a DJ. You can't sequence.
How many songs did we not hear from the Chronic?
Oh, probably 90.
Really?
But this is what happens though. So what happens is, like, let's say we did 120 songs, 110 songs, right? So out of that, we end up with 10. But of those 110, you might hear a line from one song, a hook from another one, a bar.
So they don't go to waste. They don't go to waste.
No,
you still grab something from everything.
There's always a resource from everywhere. Oh, that kick drum on this sound better than the one over here. What, the first mix or the one over here on this song?
Right.
Yeah, we're going to move that over here. It's like we use it all. When we make music, see, because we were making albums, so we use it all together. Now, people just make songs.
Yeah.
They don't make albums, so it's a different art. It's an art to make an album, a collection of music that people want to listen to like that. So
how do you know when it's done, though, Chris? When do you know, like, is it I got to turn it in by this day, and what I got, or do you? I mean, I know Dr. Dre doesn't go by that, but how does that work? How do you know? Okay, I think we're ready. This is it.
When we ready, they give us deadlines, and we just go right past them until we ready. I remember working on Doggystyle. So we got this. So Doggystyle, the first single got leaked early. It jumped out in like, we on tour.
Was it What's My Name?
Yeah.
It was What's My Name.
What my name. So that shit came out, boom, it's on the radio everywhere. We're hearing it in Detroit. Like, how the fuck they get that shit? So anyway, that's out. So now we got to hurry up. They want to rush us, right? So we ain't rushing, but we ended the tour to go get this album done. So we go over there. We working on this album. We got all the songs done. And so now it's at a fever pitch because the album's done, right? So it's like...
And Snoop's hot.
He's
so hot at this point.
Dude,
like, everybody's waiting for this record.
Bro, wait. It's like, let me tell you, man. So I would edit all of the songs together on 1/2-inch tape. We got all the songs that are 1/2-inch, right? So I'm editing. I got this razor blade. So I got calls every 5 minutes. We getting calls from Jimmy Iovine and
everybody.
Suge, like, yo, y'all done yet? Y'all done yet? So there was a lot of that going down, but we got it done, and he sold 385,000 copies in one day.
Oh, one day. That's right. That's
he
right.
got the record.
It was incredible. It was incredible.
More than Michael Jackson.
I got to tell you, I remember I was recording at Paramount Studios on, is that Santa Monica that was on Paramount?
It still is.
Yeah, it still is, right? It had all those rooms. So we were working, I want to say we were working on a Kid Frost album, Tony and myself. And then somebody had What's My Name on a cassette. And we went in the car and we listened to it. And I always want to tell people this, Snoop was so hot. And at the same time, I got to give Suge Knight his props too, because he was really good at not letting things come out and make more of an anticipation for it.
Dre and I, we would not make records for other people, period. It was no.
Yeah.
Like, nah, Dre used to say, why would I give a record away? Why would I give away a hit? I'll put it out on my own label.
Chris, I want to ask you also about, because I know you work with, like I said, with Dr. Dre on different projects and things like that. When you did like Doggy Dog's World and like Doggystyle, working on that album, it was very musical. Later on, it seemed like it became less musical and less stuff and just more about dun 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 dun, like more spacey, I guess I would say. Was that something that you guys graduated into, or was that thought out? You know, if that even makes sense, what I'm saying.
Yes, it does make. It's actually funny that you noticed that. So this is the thing. When in the beginning, Dre would make music with NWA and maybe even Michel'le, it was more like the Bomb Squad, like noise, like as much noise as you could put in the record. Like NWA was like.
And samples and
all kind of samples.
Yeah, all kind of samples
on steroids,
yeah,
like, you know, with the attitude, all that. Then as he got older, that teenage aggression, you go to another form of aggression musically and stuff. So it became dun dun tch, dun dun tch,
yeah,
dun dun. It's still the same anger. It's just compressed now and bursts.
Yes.
And that's why you like it. That's why you could repeat it.
Yeah.
So it became, but now certain songs are made differently. So certain songs were made by certain people. So like I did Explosive.
Okay.
When I did Explosive, I was experimenting with spatial. I was doing less for more because everybody, I remember, so when I did Explosive, it was a tutorial to the group in the room. We were out at Mama's house in Reno. We went out of town to make this record for King T. And so we made a few songs up there. I did the track for
That Kingdom Come?
Yep. I did a track for Hello, NWA, and I did Explosive the same time while we was up there. So those, if you listen to them, they have that space you talking about. Hello, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. And it's got a in between.
Right.
And then dun-dun-dun. Dun, dun, dun. It ain't like boom, 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 boom. Boom. No, it's spaces in
Very
it. So
spacey,
I started with the Explosive. I said, look, man, somebody kept saying, well, we need this, we need that. I said, Dre, we need one kick drum, one snare drum, and we don't even need a snare. We need like a stick and a hi-hat. Watch this. So I took a loop and I held it halfway. So instead of going like boom, pick-a-ka, doom, doom, ka, I would go boom, pick-a-ka, boom, ka, boom, ka,
Wow.
right? And then I said, all we need is one kick drum. I went around. I said, boom, this kick. So it was boom, boom, right? I said, I like this space right here. I don't want nothing there. I want it to stop. I want the beat to stop because that's where the funk is. And then I said, what? And I always wanted to use this sample. And I go, and I played, Lil' Kim rapped over that same sample that they used, that Mobb Deep, the same, somebody else. Everybody thinks like we got it from One and from Bumpy's Lambert, but it's not. It's from a sample of somebody else singing it. Second generation of, and it's a little different. So I was like, play this. Think, but play it like this. Like you gotta pluck it. Like they was doing, so they played the part. I was like, you see, this is the kind of beat we need to do. And that motherfucker was boom, boom. I said, can I get the bass player I want? Because I was trying to get the band back together. He was like, yeah. So I called Colin Wolf, flew him out to Reno. He plays boom, 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 boom. Now, boom, boom, boom. It's different. You need the space. And I was telling people. And so I created that style then. So after that, I did phone tap. Doom, ka, doom, doom, ka.
Yeah.
Doom, ka, doom, doom. Space,
yeah, absolutely.
That's me.
Yeah.
That other songs, that gung, gung, that's Dre.
Yeah.
He's got a thing that whenever you hear, like in Mary J. Blige, what's that? That's Dr. Dre composing.
For sure.
Most people don't know when that's the specific of when he composed something. It's that shit in it.
Yeah. Let me ask you about The Firm and working with them. And you brought up Phone Tap, which I thought it was an incredible record. And I just like that record in general, just the way it came in. You as a producer, is there a difference with working with East Coast rappers and West Coast rappers when it comes to like the MCing part?
In my experience,
because New York, I mean, you got Nas. When The Firm was Nas, AZ, and Foxy
Nature
Brown,
and Foxy
and Nature. I mean, those are incredible rappers.
And they was excellent.
And then Dog Pound, you got
everyone you named, and Tupac, and I had RBX, Snoop, Rage, Corrupt. Those guys were vicious. They were so good. Same as the East Coast guys. It's the same. It's the work ethic. Those are all look, if I could put together like a team of students or a team of astronauts or some shit like that, them dudes, they was all equal. Even Daz.
What's one thing that you've seen Dr. Dre do that you learned something like, and you watched him, because both of you are producers, but everybody bounces off each other. You know what I mean? What's something that you said, oh, damn, I was dope how you did that? Or
okay, so I got a story. So when I first got signed to Ruthless, I had my group Poor Broken Lonely. So I wanted to work with, like, I got Ernie Isley, I got Michelet, all them people are on the album. I didn't know Ernie Isley and Jimi Hendrix was like the same, like one taught the other. I'm not sure which taught which either. One of them taught the other. I think Isley taught Hendrix, but either way, Hendrix may have taught Isley. They the same. That's why his they do the same lick when they chant, when they do the turnaround. So we were recording Michelet. Now I know Michelet, she talks, this way, and she sings. For some reason, man, we could not. Now I'm a producer, bro, and I just couldn't. I was like, dude, I don't think she could sing. Like, I can't get the performance out of her. So he said, Dre shows up. Woo! He always pull up in some foreign shit. He pull up. He's like, I tell him, man, Dre, I don't know, bro, this ain't it. And he said, hold on. So he said, turn on the lights. He turned the lights in the vocal booth, right? So they say something, I'm muted, I don't know. And then he goes, okay, Glove, go ahead. So I hit record, and she starts singing amazing, right? Like, first line was perfect, like, oh. So she's going on, and we get the takes down and stuff, and so I'm like, what did this nigga do? How did he I couldn't get shit out of her. So I turn on the lights, she's sitting on his motherfucking lap. I was like, what?
We gonna get this take.
This nigga had her on his lap and she was blowing. I don't know what else he was doing to her, but she was on his lap. The lights was off. I don't know how she knew the words to the song, but she killed it. I was like, okay.
Yeah, Michelle is great, man. She's
No, I mean, I guess I see the inspiration. I see it's you're her muse. I'm telling you, bro, it was a no-go. It was like, okay, so my homegirl, Dawn Robinson, right? She was in a group called In Vogue.
In Vogue, yeah.
So they kick her out the group and they do shit to her, like pay her to come to the studio and not sing, right? So they got a song, my boy Rico from Organized Noise, he produced Don't Let Go, the biggest seller they got, right?
Yeah.
So Rico is like, bro, he calls him my boy C Major, shout out to C Major and Sweets. He's managing Don. So he's like, bro, the girls, this song is whack, bro. It ain't happening. They can't sing it. It's not happening. So he goes, tell them girls to go to lunch and let's let Dawn sing the whole song with all the parts and harmonies and then call me back. So he ran them out, and Don't Let Go is the biggest selling record they got. And they sold over 30 million albums. That album was double platinum. And it's all Dawn.
Wow.
Just like when we did a song, when Snoop first came to Aftermath, when we first started doing that thing, we had a song called Zoom. It ended up being with LL Cool J, but we did a version of Zoom with me. I did a track, Dre, Snoop. It was the first time they got back together, and Dawn is singing in it. And so when she lay her part, Snoop go, why does she sound like all In Vogue by herself? Like he was making a joke. I told him, I said, because she is all In Vogue by herself. She sings all those parts. Them girls don't sing. They try to throw them out there for some lead, but she laying in lush backgrounds and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm working on a movie for Dawn, so that was like
No, she's great. She was great in Lucy Pearl.
Yeah, Lucy Pearl was my boy.
Great project. That was such a great project. I
Lucy
want to ask you, Glover, before we get done, what is your feeling on AI today? Because we're seeing a lot of stuff I'm watching in music, and I have some friends that have used it. They know how to use it very well, and it's helped them out in their writing process. But they don't just depend on the AI, but they have used it, and they showed me a few things, and I was very impressed. I was like, wow. But what's your feeling on what you're seeing?
I believe in forward movement. I like things that can assist me. Like, for instance, so everybody's worried about AI and it's gonna take over or some shit. But like, I could see, when I see a visual of AI, I tell you it's AI. I can spot it. Show me 52 things. That's AI. That's AI. That's a bot. That's AI. Like, you can tell because a certain way they do the slow-mo and other things. So they're not gonna take over film and television just yet. So I'm not concerned with that. I love the fact that you can give a prompt and get a complete visual, whether they got 11 fingers or 2 heads or whatever, because you got to refine the prompts and so forth. But I love that. I used to make, bro, if you really master it and it gets good, you could take over the world with that shit. Just you. Like we were talking, like, for instance, all y'all that don't know, shout out to Westside Radio. It's only Julio G. Yeah. There's no assistant. There's nobody doing lights. There's nobody pushing buttons. Nobody open the door. We got some homies outside their security.
Yeah.
So,
but I do everything here, and I actually edit. I actually edit these myself too.
Absolutely, bro. So y'all.
But I go back from your school because this is about. I always feel like you got to do. I don't want it done right. I want it done right, and I want to know what I'm doing. I want to understand it better. So I want to know what I'm talking about, because it's something that I just kind of got back to my old ways of like, stop depending on people. You got to figure it out yourself. And now that YouTube is like I'm like,
you can look on there in a second. Man, come on.
I'll go to YouTube College
University. They're going to give us a PhD.
For real, bro. I've learned so much about everything just going through YouTube. So shout out to everybody on YouTube that I get to watch their videos and all that stuff. But I'm glad that you're into AI like that, though, because
they'll never replace me.
No, exactly.
When you're an artist like yourself or some creator, they can do what they want, but there's the creative thing that you got that you could always do something, throw them on their head. That's better that they could never do.
Chris, out of all these people that you work with in all these years, one person that comes to mind that you say, man, this guy has raw talent, or this female right here has just raw talent. Because I met so many different people that I get around certain people and you just feel it like, damn, this person is like really talented. Like, and it's special when you meet those people, because I've met some timbali players, or I've met like bass players, I've met guitar players that I'm like, wow, this guy's super, super special. And then I'm sure being around where you've been around, you've met a lot of people who just pops out and you said, man, that guy was so talented, or female was so talented.
Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre, huh?
That's the most talented individual I've ever seen, dude.
Really?
I mean, I'm saying this with nothing but love, but it's like I see people come in there sounding one way and go out with a hit. Like, I mean, bruh. And then I've seen it's new style. So I developed a lot of things. Like, you see how your podcast system is set up. This is a method right here. Somebody came up with this. You may not know the guy, but he did this first.
Yeah.
And everybody copies him. So the way that when you go in the studio and you see Dre's microphone and his mic chain, I designed that. The microphone, the Sony 800, and either the Avalon or the LA2 that we use as a compressor, that's my design. I came up with that. And I walked in his house and was like, oh, you know, I go to Exhibit Studio. Oh, I go to some other studios. Oh, and then not only that, but I always rap right here. Like, I'm singing at the board. Now everybody does it. We don't even use the booths no more. That's storage. And the funny thing is, cats ain't.
So you're recording right at the board.
Yep, that's a secret, but yeah, that's what but because you get you one of them, what's the round part? The little round, that thing works so good. You turn the volume down on the monitors, it ain't even all the way down. Dude got on headphones, busting. Snoop's whole album was recorded like that. I mean, it's magnificently recorded.
Oh yeah, it's incredible.
You know that. There's nothing wrong with that. So, you know, but hey, man, shout out to my guys, dude, all of them. They all.
Now you work with some great people, that's for sure, man. Glove, thank you so much for coming, man. It's been just a pleasure to talk to you, man. I've learned so much just listening to you today.
Moments.
And we got to, and I'm glad, like I said, we got to document these legends right here.
Yeah,
because these are you guys are like the original West Coast, the people that I came up on watching and you know, keep an eye on, and you guys need more credit, you know what I mean? So I'm glad that I'm able to do this with this podcast and bring, you know, my friends, you know what I mean, and people that I admire to give them their props, you know what I mean? So thank you so much, Glove, for coming, man. And I hope you enjoy some LA Kush.
Oh, bro, yeah, this dude shot me a zip. I was like, man, I need an ounce of weed.
Oh, we got that, bro.
He said, what? That got like
it's waiting on you.
15 flavors of this. This shit's crazy. I want to shoot out some of my folks. We just entered into the Olympics. We didn't win, but we're in the Farmers Cup here in San Diego on the 15th. My boy, Mr. Arcade with Weed Woods, and my boy, First Class Genetics. We gonna get out there, and then we got C Major with Sweets. That's us. We use the best genetics and the best growers to make our sweets.
Perfect, man. Perfect. That sounds good. I can't wait to smoke something there. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. Thank you so much, bro. I appreciate you doing this for us.
Man. Thank you, man. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you very much too. Check it out, Julio G, Westside Radio. Of course, Chris the Glove, Julio G. You know what it is.
We brought the hood to the west side. West side radio.